So this is the setup. You saw everything on the video laid out on the floor, so this is it in real life. So I've got two Jivvy side bags with a waterproof cover, and then I've got the Oxford dry bag. Everything soft and for the B&B is in that bag, and everything hard and conveniently also for camping is in this bag and that bag. Waterproofs and electrics are in here, and that is just a temporary thing while I go into the services here. Just saves me carrying it around, and it means that I can take the bag off and I use the bag as a little backpack. So we've just had lunch, had a wee, and what we're going to do now, get some petrol. Got 90 miles to go, so let's see how that goes. So I'm going to start putting the waterproof covers on. I'm also going to put my waterproof trousers on because they're in there and it might as well be easy to do now. So let's get geared up, and the next time I see you, I'll be in the Lake District. All right, chat to you soon. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the start of my little holiday adventure in the Lake District. Thankfully, it only started raining just as I arrived at the B&B. As I said before, 2 nights B&B, then 2 nights camping, then hopefully another night camping. So in terms of the journey here, literally no hassle at all. I stopped once for fuel about 60 miles in, then I stopped another for fuel with 100 miles left of the journey, and now I'm here. Anyway, I'll show you around the room. So, moving around the room, little bed. They provide towels, which is really nice. Just all my stuff on the floor. The panniers are still on the bike. Just got the gloves up there, little TV here. Just hung the jackets up, keeping out of the way. So there we go, very simple, nice little room. Nice little sink in the corner. I've made a cup of tea. I've had some chips. Sad to report the pie was disgusting. I didn't manage to finish it. It wasn't a pucker pie. It looked very similar to one, but it was just so dry, both inside and out, I just couldn't even finish it. I hate food waste, but that was probably the first thing I actually could not bring myself to eat. On the way there, lovely and smooth, and on the way back, I got absolutely soaked. So what I'll do now, I'll show you how that journey went, and I'll show you a little bit of the town as well. Well, hello everyone. As we're off to go and get some takeaway, I thought I'd talk you through how the trip went. This will be a 4 or 5 part episodes. I think they're going to be about 20 minutes to half an hour long. I haven't even finished editing this one yet. I've just jumped in on voiceover. Now, I'm going to be doing a lot of voiceover. This is because I had a lot of problems with my dodgy microphone setup. I was promised a professional setup, but unfortunately the venue that was going to lend me them don't have that kit anymore, all to do with shuffling kit around and getting rid of things they don't need in exchange for funds to keep the building open during this strange time. And I'm also not going to mention the virus all the time, but as you'll find out from this trip, everywhere you want to go has a one-way system. So whether it's a waterfall, a toilet, or a restaurant, everything is twice as long because everyone has to mess about social distancing. I see the point of it, but when you're used to just nipping in and out, free parking, park right next to the building, it's obviously a bit different to have to wait in long queues, and this is the day after travel was allowed, so everyone's just getting used to having tourists there again. But yes, I'm pleased to report I did make the budget. I spent £223, and I only went over budget because I added that extra night in the Peak District, which you'll see in episode 4 or 5. I'm still just going to do Tuesdays and Thursdays, because I think it gives me enough time to do editing in between. Also means that the video can gather some views before I move on to the next one, rather than unleashing them in a block, and people probably not getting through each one. So that's my thought anyway. And it just makes sense to me to publish everything on Tuesdays and Thursdays anyway. But if you consider that each one of these takes about half a day to edit, there's a lot more time that goes into it than just me hitting publish. And that's the same for every YouTuber, big or small. Speaking of big or small, I'm really thankful for all my new subscribers. While I was away, I came back. Some of my videos have rocketed up to 5,000 views, 1,000 views. That's really exciting to see, and welcome to all my new subscribers. I've currently got 145. It's really exciting. I remember when my channel had 1 subscriber, and now to see 145 and it growing every day is really exciting. So thank you all for joining me, thank you all for your support, and also thanks for your nice comments as well. It's really cool to hear what other people do with their street twins, and even if they don't have a street twin, just glad you enjoy my videos. So thanks very much for all that support. The support is really appreciated, and it's so nice to see that people like my videos. So thank you very much for liking my content And if you think there's anything I should be doing, should be improving on, then please let me know. But remember, I can't just go around buying drones. I haven't worked for 4.5 months now. I am making active efforts to apply to shops, deliveries, factories, etc. But no one wants me, which is bizarre, seeing as I don't want to blow my own trumpet. But in theatre, I was in high demand, and I never had to send a CV off. It was just my name, and that got me into the venue that I applied to. So we're just coming up now in the town of Keswick itself. This hasn't changed much in all of the years. Of course, the shops have got more modern. You see there's a little pizza takeaway. This place is so strange for me because when I was here 2 years ago, it was the peak of summer season. The place was absolutely rammed. What happens is before the weather gets really good, lots of old people come here on coaches, and the coach ship industry does a amazing time. And then when it gets closer to summer, I found that the general crowds were shifting from very old people to young people out on their first road trips in their cars and stuff. So we're just going to a place called the Old Keswickian. I was told you could sit up in the restaurant in here, which I was really looking forward to. But that didn't work out, so I decided to take the takeaway back, put it in the bike, and try and sit by the lake. Let me show you guys how that went. That is exactly what I wanted a tank bag for. So typical. Just as I risked it without the waterproofs, it begins to rain just as I've left the car park. We're just heading down to Derwentwater, which is the biggest lake in Keswick, but I chose not to wear my waterproofs just so I could get going quicker. This turned out to be the worst decision I made this evening. Can you see the second car waiting at the roundabout? Now, in London, nobody would do this. But look, I'm not even in the turn right lane and they're already sat there waiting for me. This happens on a daily basis. People are miles away from yourself at junctions and they just sit there and wait for you to come. It was so nice, and thank you to the people of Cumbria for your excellent road manners. I know it's not expected, I know that you have as much priority as I do over the roads, but this happened on, I'd say, an hourly basis. You'd want to turn right or left or pull out of a junction, and people would just sit there and just wait for you to pass before going. I tried stopping and flashing, but they are insistent that you go first, so don't assume it. My experience was that everyone, but that one big fat builder, had massive respect for bikers. So I'll show you that clip briefly now, and then I'll put it properly in the other one. But to be fair, I saw it coming from a long way off. It was on my side of the road. I saw it coming from a long way off, and I really should have just waited behind the traffic, waited for that car to pass, and then gone round these builders, rather than attempt to go all London and squeeze through. And although I'm sure I'd love to blame the builder patio driveway man for this incident, actually I think that was my fault for not waiting. And to be fair, I've looked back at that clip so much. I can see I had about 10 seconds to stop, and why else would two people with two vehicles step out into the road on the driver's side, and what else could they be doing? Like, I should have stopped, but I'm also glad that he shut the door before I'd passed. It was one of those things, I think, that's the type of lapse of judgment that I've brought my air jacket for, just so that if I am not focusing and, you know, it's pouring with rain, or I've been on the bike for, you know, 4 or 5 days in a row, that little judgment could have ended my trip early and caused a lot more hassle than it needed to. So, lesson learnt there. This isn't the Highway Code show, but actually apparently that's what you're meant to do. But it was still not great, was it? Like, he could have waited a second. His friend waited. I don't see why the big boss couldn't have waited. It was then time for the rainiest ride back to the B&B I've ever had. I'll be quiet for a moment and so you can hear the rain on the camera. And this continued to pelt all the way from the lake where I was meant to be sitting and having my fish and chips to the B&B at the side. Oh guys, I am bloody soaked. Worst idea ever. I didn't take the waterproofs because I was trying to be quick, but now my Kevlar jeans are soaked. I mean, I'm glad I brought my other set with me, but damn, don't I feel stupid now. Lesson number 1 of motorbike touring, that I've just learned, is don't chance it. Always take stuff with you. Already a bit miserable. There we go. Part of the adventure. Yeah, soaked already, but at least it's part of the adventure. And I've got a nice warm B&B to go to. Where's it gone?
next morning.
Good morning, everybody. It's the morning of day one. I had a lovely sleep and I am greeted by a lovely fry-up for breakfast. Not much changes to the serving of this, really. They just can't have so many people in the breakfast room at once. I'll show you out the window. It's looking quite sunny today, looking quite dry. This stayed like it for most of the day, I'm pleased to report. So let's get on the bike and let's go. But immediately you'll see the views are better than yesterday, but that's because I'm going further than the town, because we're not just doing a takeaway today. Today we're doing some fantastic roads, including Honister Pass, the Air Force waterfalls, and around Buttermere as well, so some fantastic roads. But in the words of my B&B host, all the roads are lovely and the passes are something special, so it's not like the passes are the only thing you should do here. I was following the sat-nav roughly, not quite the left-right game, but still, if it looked fun, it was a road I stuck to, and if it didn't look fun, I looked down at the sat-nav, and that took me to my planned route. But overall, a lot of this footage is me just following a road, and if it was scenic I stayed on it, and if it was getting a bit boring like a town, then I left. But you'll see later on in the video that doesn't quite work out. So, as I said earlier, this is going to be part of a 4 or 5 series length of episodes. I think I'll be doing 2 a week, just for editing purposes, and it gives the videos a chance to be watched before I put the next one out. But if you haven't subscribed already, please do. This is the length I've gone to already, in terms of trips, exploration, and there's some really exciting things to come. There'll be a reveal video coming once this trip is over, partially so that I know how many people are interested, but also so that I can get feedback through these videos, and if there's anything I should improve on, or anything I should plan specifically, then I will build it into that trip before I announce where we're going, if that makes sense. There's been a few hints in the videos, but they've been very subtle, and it's only through here that I've dropped a bagpipe of a hint as we go along. Anyway, let's haggis away with the video, and we are heading towards a nice waterfall called Air Force. Now, this took about half an hour from the B&B, and you might have noticed I don't do 60 in the 60. This isn't because I'm scared of my bike or I don't know how to handle it. This is just because, unlike London, you don't have to drive on the very limit. I barely ever had anyone behind me, and when I did, there was so much following distance because they were either a local who knew how bad the roads were, or a tourist like me who was a bit cautious because they really don't know what's around each corner. Even on these quiet looking roads, not particularly near any farmland, there were still animals just roaming around, and it's one of those things, like, if you're watching this with a view from London, then well done, and if you're expecting me to speed down all these roads, then probably this isn't video for you. I wanted to take it in, and that's part of the reason I got a retro bike rather than a race bike, because yes, this bike can top the ton. I've done it, it was very easy, and overtakes I've accidentally touched, 80, 90, it doesn't take very long at all. Especially when you're pulling on the motorway, this bike doesn't take very long at all to pull above legal speeds for a few moments, and it takes seconds. It's no strain. Even with all the luggage, I still did Hard Not Pass, which is coming in another video. But of course I didn't do Hard Not Pass at 100, that'd be mental. I did it at about 30. But anyway, stay tuned, you'll see what happens in my Hard Not Pass video. Just ahead of us now, you see this brilliant view of the road leading towards the lake. This is the type of thing I came to the Lake District for. It's really nice that after 3 months basically being indoors, this was the view I got to see. Really, really nice. There are other bikers around. You see these 3 adventure bikers. We've got some sort of really old BMW, then the new 1250 GS, and then another GS as well. I didn't see a single other retro bike during this trip. I don't know if they were locals or just long distance people. I can see the attraction in the big GS. And after this series, I'll be showing off my BMW Urban GS review. It's not my bike, don't worry. I just test rode it because I'm really interested to see if I could handle a boxer engine. In short, yes I can, but I'm not crazy enough to get on a GS, and I'm really sorry Fentor, but I'm not at that age yet where long distance comfort is my main concern. Currently it's all about the short journeys and the occasional long route for me, but I'm sure you can understand. But you also have a Harley as well, so you understand the need for more than one bike, because each bike comes with different rules. And the same with helmet head. You've got a Triumph Bonneville, but you've also got a monkey bike. You wouldn't go too far in that monkey bike. That's why you've built the monkey bike camper van. So I think all So I think really we all understand the difference between sport and sport touring. It's just like comparing the Moto Guzzi V7 to the Moto Guzzi V85 TT. Both beautiful bikes, but both have a very specific purpose, although they both look amazing. If I had to have a retro adventure bike, the V85 TT would really be on the cards. So while I was chatting away, we've just arrived at Aeroforce, I'm still not sure. I'm going to say it wrong a few times, so I've said it in the way I've said it. I thought it'd be a great time to do a hyperlapse. This is one of the things I really like about having the Osmo. This is filmed on my iPhone and it's processed there and then on the spot. And here it is. Look at the immense power of this water. This has been cutting through this valley. What? This isn't it? Okay, right, let's carry on and I'll show you the real deal.
Five minutes later.
So that was meant to just be a quick nip up there and back, but annoyingly, because of this stupid one-way system, I've wasted the best part of an hour. Don't bother with the one-way system, you lose about 40 minutes of your day trying to get back to your bike. I'll show you on the tracker, but I've literally walked a mile round rather than the 20 minutes coming back. That just go back the way you came, and it's a lot quicker of a visit. Anyway, so you've seen the waterfall, let's get back on the bike and we'll do some passes. Right, catch you in a bit. I wasn't planning on filming again so soon, but as I was leaving the car park, my front wheel slipped out from under me. I'll show you a quick version and I'll put it in slow-mo as well. Any suggestions of what this is? I think it was just a cold tyre on a very wet and slimy road, but this definitely woke me up. Heading away from the waterfalls, we're now doing the A5091, very catchy name, and this is exactly what I meant about random animals in the middle of the road. If I was coming round the other way, I wouldn't have expected this sheep to be just lurking on its own. And especially as I now show you what the roads are really like. You see I'm hovering along this mountain pass. It was a fantastic road, but there was so much to look out for, and again, single track, steep turns, and I don't know where I am, to be honest, as well. I didn't feel scared, but definitely cautious. But that's because I love my bike, I paid cash for it, and some of these lunatics finance their bikes. It's not really their bike, and they have a lot less people to answer to. Whereas mine, I worked incredibly hard to earn mine. And let's say I was hooning it around this corner because I'm a lunatic and I smash into this Audi. Did you see that Audi? No, you basically completed the corner and then it pops out. One of those things, I guess, but you do your own ride, but this is, I feel like, a bit of an explanation as to my riding style. And look at that view as well. Why would you want to rush past all this when you can slow down and take it all in? Plus there's no one up behind you. And if I wasn't filming this, I could have done this road at 10 miles an hour. No one would have known. And to be fair, nobody would have minded. Had a few funny hairy moments. This is my first ever tight corner up a hill. Did okay, this is the bike in first gear. Accidentally knocked high beam on, if you're wondering what that blue light is. But no, it was a good laugh, a nice little challenge. But it's things like this I came to the Lake District to hone my skills in. Just give you a quick look at what we're driving through. The bike looks absolutely lovely in this thing, and yes, that is as steep as it looks, but of course the camera tends to flatten things out as well. And because I have the B&B, the soft bag is living in the B&B, but the panniers are staying on because I had to get used to the weight a little bit. And also, all that's in there is pots and pans and a gas bottle, so not high value stuff. It wasn't really worth me taking them all the way up to the room just for one day, so I decided to keep them on the bike. You notice the waterproof covers are on in this shot. Later on in the trip, the waterproof covers didn't particularly stay on, but there's more on that story to come. Now, hats off to the YouTubers, like Ventor, who go away on these big adventures all the time. I don't know how you manage to do it, keep your videos so consistent, yet not cut out all the good stuff. I found it really difficult because I've got so much great footage to show you guys of these roads. But if I just make you sit and watch it, it's like a dashcam video. So I'm trying to keep the editing fresh, but there are so many fantastic views that I could totally just play my hours and hours of footage each day. In terms of recording, I've got about 5 hours a day. Some of it is absolute junk, and I can tell you that now. And others, I can definitely trim down to be in the B-roll pile or the show you roll pile. I don't know what the best roll pile is called. Anyway, so there are some brilliant roads. These continue on, and we're getting closer to Buttermere now. This is one of my favourite roads, and this is what I imagined me doing when I came to the Lake District. Just riding along the side of a lake with no barriers in between. You know, none of those big hazard markings, no massive signs in the way, and no big fences ruining the look as well. So just pure nature and road. It's one of those things, that's what biking is about for me. All open to the elements and part of the adventure rather than being hidden away. Let's say if we're all gated off like some sort of racetrack here, I don't think it would be the same. So where are we now, I hear you ask? Well, this is the start of Honister Pass. We've just been from Buttermere to we're heading towards Honister. And now Honister is an old slate mine, but it's still active. You can still go and buy... Oh, what do you buy in slate? Still go and buy a slate bench for the garden or tiles for your roof. But of course they're working on probably a slightly smaller scale than they used to be. Probably focusing on, you know, architectural pieces and things for people's homes rather than something that everybody desired and everybody needed, because of course we've got modern stuff now. But again, the roads are absolutely lovely. On the top of all these peaks, that's the beginning of Slate. And as we get closer to the mine and cutting area, you'll see the colours of the screen change from green to a lot of grey, but it's still an active place. Still an active cutting place, which I'll show you when I go into the shop. But really, really cool. I mean, they have the world's slowest cafe. If I'm being honest with you guys, it took me about 15 minutes just to get a cup of tea. And it took about 5 minutes of that was waiting for someone to come over. 10 minutes of that was the actual ordering process. Then eventually I got one made, but that's not the COVID, that's just slow service. But anyway, just glad to be here. You see it opens up even wider. And what a lovely scenic view. But if you look into the distance, you can see the colours changing already. It's all getting a bit greyer as we get closer towards the stones. A few cyclists hanging around. And there were a few bikers as well. Again, a set of 3 bikers, all on big adventure bikes. It's Ducati Multistrada, and I think a GS and something else as well. So felt very cool and very unique to be the only retro rider I saw that day, but why not? What a brilliant thing. And as it's been said before, the best bike for touring on is the bike you already have. I'll show you guys up to the peaks now. That is really high. The camera is slightly curved. It doesn't quite show the full height of these things, but what amazing scenery and just big chunks of rock hanging around everywhere as well. Really makes you feel very, very small in this little valley. But also, again, as I said, that's what biking is about, being part of the adventure. I thought I'd just pull over here, get a little walk around. And this is one of the nice things about going solo, really. Whenever you see something pretty, pull over and stop. There's nothing, you don't have to check with your friend or feel like you stop all the time. If you haven't gone solo already, even just for one night, try it and you'll find out what you like in a trip rather than what your friend, who you're always trying to keep up with, likes in a trip as well. When I go on my big tour coming up, that will be with a friend. But again, most of these trips I do solo, purely because it's easier, it's a bit cheaper, and you can decide what to do and when you want to do it, rather than having to double check through friends. But of course, on the other hand, it is really nice to be with other people, have a bit of a laugh together as well, because sometimes it does get a bit lonely and it does get a bit boring as well. So we're working on that, but I can always chat to you guys on the camera. So we're just carrying on up Honister Pass, making our way towards the Honister Cafe, which is also a working slate mine. Pretty cool, I'll show you around. I met a really nice couple from the Polish Bikers organisation as well. They were really cool. They were here in their car this time, but again, the guy's got a GS and the lady had some sort of Kawasaki, I can't remember, but they did say they'd subscribe, and hopefully, if you have, thank you very much for finding me, and I hope you enjoy this video as well. I did originally go past the cafe. I just wanted to see what was beyond. And I got down, and very quickly we got into a village, so I decided to stop, turn around, and go back past all the Harleys again, and pull into the cafe for the world's slowest cup of tea. But when I got it, it tasted nice, but cup of tea and whatever chicken wrap they had left, but it's not quite the experience I was hoping for. But there we go, you can't be picky, especially when it's the only cafe in the area. There's not a lot of choice. Here we go, I'm coming back again past them now, a bit awkward. I still got waves and smiles, but I'm pretty sure they clocked I was the same guy. And just down here is Honister, so it's a mix of a slate cutting place and a cafe. You've got the Sky High Cafe, and you can also get a bit of slate cut as well. So yeah, very cool, nice tours here. And I just plonked my bike in front of this old train. Parking on a bike. I've never paid for parking in my life. Actually, that's a lie. Parking on a motorbike. In the 5 years I've had a motorbike, I've paid 50p for parking once. It was National Trust, and it was the only place you could stop, but it was still 50p for bikers, £2 for cars. You can't be fussy, but 50p in 2 years for parking, that's so cheap in comparison to what I normally pay in the car. And with bikes as well, I found you don't really have to find a spot. You sort of just make your own parking area. And as long as it's vaguely sensible, I left my bike in all sorts of places in the Lake District and never upset anyone. Once you're past the motorway bits, it's one of the most convenient ways to travel, I think. And that's about it for today's episode. I've never chatted and made a video for this long. And also, if there's anything you want to suggest, then please let me know. But unfortunately, everything's already filmed and I'm back home now, so I can't make any camera angles change, and I can't do any more flybys or show you a bit more of a certain location because, as I said, I've already done the 300 miles home and I'm back now. I might have some footage that would be of interest to you, but by the time this video is out, I am just finishing edit 2 of the next episode, which will be out on Thursday, hopefully Thursday. But I'll leave you with some of my favourite photos of the day. But of course, there's so much to cover, I don't want to spam you guys for too long. But again, if you like this video, please let me know. It's always nice to hear what people think, and especially as this is my longest video yet, and it's part 1 of the 5-part series. So if I'm talking too long, or you want to hear the bike a bit more, tell me now before I edit the next 3-4 hours worth of clips to show you, only to find out that you don't like me chatting so much. So let's see what you guys think. And thank you so much for watching if you got to this point. Up next on the trip, we've got loads of things, including Hard Knot Pass, the Stone Circle, the theatre lit up in red, and of course, then it gets to the camping stage, where you get to see me unveil all the kit and set it up, and I get to cook some bacon, eggs, beans, and I cook a steak as well. And I have a nice side around a fire, so if you want to see what it's like solo camping and solo adventuring, stick with me, stay tuned, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.